Hello folks, welcome back to the Cardboard Cave and another Lego City Space review. This is the biggest one we've reviewed yet in the new for 2024 Lego City Space theme. We've previously done reviews for the $35 rover set there and the $20 interstellar ship there. I gave them both rave reviews for their price point. Really excellent sets. This is a much bigger and much more expensive animal. Set 60433, Modular Space Station. 1,097 pieces. Retail price is $110 in the US. So basically right at 10 cents per piece, if you care about such things. But what do we think about it? Does it feel worth it? The other two city space sets we've reviewed so far, I said felt more than worth it for the price of Lego today. But this is much bigger, much more expensive. But is it worth the extra money? Is it comparable in value to the smaller sets? Let's find out. I do love the... Not that the box really matters very much once you've built the set, but I do love the boxes for these city space sets. And here shows you some things you can do, switching the modules around, taking them off, even making a space train. And we're going to show you some of this stuff. What we're going to do first is we are going to give you a close-up look at the set itself. Then we're going to take a quick pause, and I'm going to show you some of the modularity, some of the things you can do with it. But right now, I just want to show you what we have going on. So basically, when you build this set, the first thing you build is actually, and I do love this, I'm going to go and call this out, there are a lot of books. So you can have several people working on this at once, which could make for a really fun family project. You got bag 1, bags 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8, 9. So 6 books altogether. I really appreciated that. So the first book is building the actual ship part of this. The way I see this is this would be a modular space station that is floating in space, you know, so not laying on the surface, but actually floating in space. Though you could see it as a modular series of labs and buildings that are actually on the planet's surface. I think it could work either way, but the idea is definitely that it's in space, as you can see from the box. But I see this as if they need to move the station, this will pull it along in space, basically. Or it can also be removed to be its own separate ship. So it's a pretty cool design. This is an ages 7+ set, so there's no crazy building techniques going on. But I have to say it was a pretty enjoyable build overall. And I'm going to take all the figures out and show you them separately, but I just want to leave them where I have them right now and give you a tour of the whole set. So simple interior, a place to sit, and 2 little joysticks. And we will show you that this can, of course, disconnect. So let's see, bags 2 and 3 are what I was dreading the most, because bags 2 and 3 are just building the ring that holds it all together. And this ring looks kind of crazy, but it's actually just, once you're done, you know, starts off as many different pieces, but once you're done, it's just one solid thing. It doesn't really have any moving function. It's just a solid piece. In fact, I'll show you the bottom and show you how sturdy it is. It is quite sturdy and quite heavy. There's what looks like rocket boosters actually on the bottom of this, so you can imagine that maybe it could, actually the whole thing could move. So you could use this as a ship to guide it, but also the whole thing has rocket boosters on the bottom. And also that just gives it a good, you know, a good place to rest. Technically, you could hold this little thing and spin the whole thing, but I found it quite painful, to be honest with you, when all the modules are attached, because it's a heavy little thing, and this is just a tiny little nub, but it does spin. So I'll go and say, one complaint I do have is, I mean, I understand because this needed to lay flat, but the spinning is cool, and it definitely does spin, although I can't really show you on this, because you kind of got to be holding it. But it does spin if you can hold it by that little thing, but it's not easy to do. In fact, with one hand, I don't think I can do it. But my complaint is not that. My complaint is, I mean, I know this is a city set, Ages 7 Up set. It's meant to play with probably more than display. But I would have really appreciated some kind of stand. Just a simple thing, you know, not a big elaborate thing. But to kind of even hold it sideways, like at this angle. Just because, yeah, I mean, it's kind of going to just be flat. When you're playing with it and when you're displaying it, it's just kind of going to be flat, which is fine. You just have to imagine it's floating in space, and all this is just space, you know, not the ground. That being said, it is super sturdy. So if you want to pick it up and move it around, it does have the rocket boosters on the bottom, and it does have this ship here. It certainly is strong enough to hold that way. And I'll show you, again, more of the functionality. But let's just move on. So that's the second part you build. And it wasn't like a blast building all this, but it wasn't nearly as repetitive as I thought it would be. It was fine. These blue things, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 more on the bottom. So there's 8 of those altogether. And then through things like this, they hold together sturdy to look like 2 perfect circles almost, but they start off as separate pieces. These are little things that, I mean, you can just see it as part of the station, but also you can take them off and put a module, for example, this one up there. And then it just kind of gives you something to put on the attachers. Why can't I think of the word? The Technic pins. It gives you something to put on the Technic pins just to make it look a little more complete. Anyway, so that's the second and third bag. The fourth bag, let's just move on in the order that it goes, is this module right here. This module right here. These trans black windows that almost look completely black from a distance, but the closer you get, you can actually see through them. Oh, and you can actually see this is sleeping quarters. And also trans black windows over here. This does not open. This is I mean, I can show you. But it doesn't. It's a permanent build. It's not meant to come off. The other side, you can attach to things. There's definitely a way to do it. I mean, you can take this off and just put pins in there. But as it comes, I don't think the intention is necessarily to take this off. But yeah, certainly you can if you want to use all the modules to connect together, like as a train, a space train. Let me just show you. It's quite easy to do. I left a piece behind, but it's not hard to do. You can certainly connect them together. But they do put this on here just to make it look more finished. But clearly, the intention is that you can take that off. Well, now I've done it. You can take that off. And then just put Technic pins in here and connect them together. So they're certainly not trying to stop you, but they put this on here to make it look like a closed off section, make it more complete. And I'm going to put that back on there. Maybe. There we go. All right, so let's go and open this up. And I do like this. And actually, I've done this wrong. What we should be doing, he should be wearing his hat. That way he's not bald. There are no hair pieces included. When you take the helmets off these characters, they don't have hair pieces. But it does specifically include one ball cap. And I've just now realized the reason, and this is really hard to do with one hand, my goodness. I was trying to avoid doing this kind of stuff with one hand. That's why I started off just showing you the set, not trying to show you the functionality, but I want to get this right. So here we go. So this character is laying here. I'll show you the bed. It's made of the blue gold bars and just like a simple pillow. And this part down here just makes it easier for them to stay there, not fall around. If you actually wedge them in there, they stay tighter. But the idea, I believe, is got one of their backpacks. That's this character's backpack. And I think the idea is actually that you put that on there, which honestly is not the easiest thing to do with adult-sized hands to even get in there to begin with. Well, you're going to take my word for it. The backpack will go in there, the helmet will go in there, then the character can sleep. So it is cool. There's 2 little stands there to hold things. And otherwise, just a bed. So that's the sleeping chamber. Only one character can sleep at a time. And this comes with Is it 4 or 5? Let's see. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wow. Yeah, 6. I guess it does make sense. It is a $110 set. 6 figures. Only one can sleep at a time. But you just have to imagine they go on shifts. That, you know, that works. It makes sense. All right. And that was bag 4. So like somebody could just build that module, and it's a totally standalone module. And because of the modular nature of this set, that works really well. I like it when Lego does that kind of thing. Bag 5 is the little vegetation chamber, which is one of my favorite parts. And these, I guess, solar panels and radar dish. Starting over with that, I do like this part a lot. These are printed. These are not stickers. These are printed. They are not double-sided. I honestly couldn't remember. I just like the look of this. It's a simple design, but it can, you know, tilt in different directions. And this is a modular part, just like anything else. So this can come off and attach anywhere you want it to. You know, you could even make it part of the space train if you do that. This is a robot that I have hanging on here. I see this as a repair robot working on the satellite here, perhaps. So I think that's pretty cool. And underneath there is just basically a way for that to stand. So like everything else, literally everything else you see here, this is its own independent build that can stand apart from everything else, which is kind of cool. It is truly modular in that way. A single battery here that's very common in these space sets this year. And I just think he's a cool design, and it totally works having him hang on here like he's working on this section. Also, in this instruction manual, you build the little garden, little space garden. And I like this. I guess this is as good a time as any to point out, Lego needs to do better with their big, clear pieces like this, that. Lego needs to do better with the packaging. It's kind of unacceptable for a premium priced toy. It is a toy, but even as a toy, it's kind of unacceptable. They just throw these loose in the bag and they get all scratched up by the time they get to you. You know, I mean, even a kid can appreciate a clear glass, you know, it's plastic, but, you know, trying to look like glass. It is not a big deal, but I gotta pick nits when I can, just to be fair. But it's not bad. Just something they should do better on. But I do like this. Simple as it is, a couple of, I guess, tomatoes and a pumpkin, something growing there, maybe some wild onions, some other vegetation there. It's simple, but I like it. I like the fact that it's a sideways garden. And like everything else, this can come off. And they show in the instruction manual actually putting this up here. And I think that looks really good. And actually, I think I could do that with one hand and show you that pretty easily. So even with one hand, you can see it's pretty easy to remove. I just got to make sure I grab the actual right thing here. Yeah, there we go. So it just leaves those behind. And here's where these come in. You can kind of just, it makes it look a little more complete, like it's intentional and not a Lego Technic pen. And then this, you know, these orange connectors, literally every one of these has one of those. So you can take this and just put it on here. Finding the holes, there we go. And I think that looks good up there. It kind of makes sense the garden would be in the center. So I think that's a cool look. But you're free to arrange these however you want to. You can have 3 branching off this way and have a few empty spots over here. If you do get more of the sets, you have other possibilities. Neither of the sets I've reviewed so far, but there are other sets, which, spoiler alert, I'll be getting to on this channel eventually. And you'll have even more things to connect. So anyways, that's that bag. Then we got, the next one is bags 6 and 7 is simply 2 more modules. So the first one is right here. So this one does not have the open top. So it doesn't have a viewing window, basically. In fact, it's completely closed in. So why would it be completely? No, it's not. There's a window on that side. And it's basically the tool area. Some kind of a drill, a wrench, a hammer of some sort. Apologize, it's a little dark in there. And that is a sticker there, but it shows actually the Space Base set, which I've not reviewed, but I will be reviewing. That's actually the biggest set in the whole Space Wave, We'll eventually be getting that, and this shows that set. And then this is the, to the right of that is this set, the modular space station. So those are both represented. And that looks like a Wi-Fi signal. I think that represents this station is communicating with that base. So that's kind of cool. I like that. All right. So just that's all that's in there, just some tools. This is an extra piece that is just included with the set. You know, our robot here had one somewhere. He had one. This is just an extra one. So I just put it in there. I thought it made sense to have an extra battery for the tools because they're obviously cordless. All right. And then also from the same bag is this one. It's not one of those big clear pieces, windows on both sides. Again, you can take this off if you want to connect. And inside here we have a lab. It's a simple lab, but we got somebody looking at the screen there studying a microbe. So life has been found on some planet. Perhaps it was brought in by the interstellar ship over there. Whoa. Anyways, you get the idea. And now they're studying up here on the space station. There's one of the batteries there. But this one, let's see if we can get this figured out and you can see it better. This one is more the fuchsia color. It is not sort of the clear, sparkly purple color that you've seen. This is a different color. And I think the idea here is they're studying whatever that is there on the right, the pink. They're studying that perhaps to learn how to make a different kind of battery source, a different kind of power source. And just a jumper plate there for the character to stand on. So a small but cool little lab there. All right, and that brings us to the last set of bags. The last instruction manual is these two parts here. And we'll go and start with this one. It's another more closed off one. Though they're all a little different. This has windows on both sides, but not the top. And again, you can take that off if you want to, but open this up. Oh, this is actually my favorite because, you know, I'm a big white boy. I'm basic. Isn't that what the kids are saying these days? I like to eat. That's all I'm trying to say. Sandwich looks like, could just be tomato and lettuce, or it could be like, I don't know, salami and pickles or something. A bottle of water there, and a coffee maker, which is incredibly simple, but works really well. That's all that's in there, just room for one to stand. All these modules are one person at a time, so you can imagine, you know, you can imagine that these actually do open, and that's how they get in, or maybe you can imagine however you want to. Really, this is the only way in this configuration. Or you can imagine that these do open when they need them to. Either way. But yeah. There you go. Cool little station. And then the last part of the station is this one. And I actually like this a lot. I guess this is the last thing you build, or one of the last things you build. So basically, come on, phone. It's a little docking station with one of the big different color batteries. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember. No, I'm not wrong. See, that's the color batteries most of the other sets come with. This station is using this new kind of source of energy. And like all of these, you can take it off. So this is a double. What I say, this is like a double A because there's two of them. Obviously, it's supposed to be super powerful energy. And this is cool. This is like some kind of electrical grid. And then this must be some like super battery powered space vehicle as it gets charged by this battery. So I think that's cool. And I just think this itself looks cool. For some reason, it's reminding me out of something from Fifth Element. Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. I'm not sure specifically what I'm thinking of. Not sure. But it is reminding me of that. And I just like it. It's simple, but I like it. It's a standing vehicle with a control panel there, which is a sticker, I believe. Yeah. The stickers on the side there as well. But none of the stickers in the set are difficult to apply. They're all pretty easy. I just like that. I think it's a cool design. And I especially like that it has a built-in dock here, which is removable like, again, literally everything else. And, there we go. So I'm just going to show you. So I love the way they do the manuals. They divide that up. I like the fact that you can just build one module at a time and not feel overwhelmed at all. You know, it's satisfying because I've learned as I get older, ironically, I actually enjoy building small to medium-sized Lego sets more than like one huge structure. Like I used to be all about the modular buildings. That's what I loved. And they're still awesome. But I enjoy building sets more like that size. It's just satisfying. You know, you spend an hour or two, then you're done and you have something complete. It's just very satisfying to me. This took probably several hours to build. I did it over 3 evenings. But, which you would hope it would take that long, you know, because, you know, it's a big set. But it's still satisfying because you finish a module quickly. And so each individual part, you still feel like you finished something. So the other things I was going to show you, the sticker sheet is not bad at all for a set of this size. These are all identical stickers. They are, let's see if I can find an example. They must all be inside. There's tons of them. It shouldn't be that hard to find. They all went somewhere specific, and I might... Oh, yep, I remember. That's why they're hard to find. They're actually on the back. So you don't see them unless you detach. It's like a control panel. Come on, phone. Good grief. On the back of each of these. You can imagine that's the way they can get in, basically, by inputting something on the control panel. So there's those. That's all these stickers. Then just a few other ones. They're not bad at all. There's not that many stickers. And like I said, those are prints there. And they would be probably the most critical to get straight. And they're not stickers. They're prints. The extra pieces. I showed you that battery already. Here's a few more. Nothing. That battery's probably the most interesting thing. Oh, and then you got an extra microbe here. Just an extra microbe piece, which you can put anywhere in the set if you want to. A couple of extras, just the basic shields. Helmet shields. And then some small pieces like you normally would get left over. So, with that being said, my phone has given up. Like, truly, there we go. That being said, we're going to come right back and show you some of the ways you can rearrange this. And then we'll give you my final thoughts and recommendation. All right, wanted to show you a better view of the minifigures as promised. And I did forget to mention it comes with a brick separator, as a lot of the bigger sets do. So we'll just start from this end. 6 figures plus the robot. These are all just good looking figures. I'm not a minifigure aficionado or expert, as I mentioned before. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions, except I'll call out things I especially like. And I especially like these new dual-toned helmets. They have like this neck piece that's white. There's a couple different figures that come in these new space sets that have these. And it makes them kind of special. I do like these helmets. Then we got yellow suit. I think are more like the not construction workers, but like they get the job done. I think that's what the yellow suits represent, but I'm not sure. Some people figured it out. Well, if you look on the box, that's exactly what they're doing. And I believe, was it red suits that are often flying the ships, but different ones can do different jobs. This one's clearly a worker. That is a different helmet. So that is cool. This is a different style of helmet, more industrial looking. A bigger, bulkier suit. Probably for actually doing some propulsion in space. And, yeah, working with the tools. Keeping the space station operational. This figure has some kind of technology on their back. Solar panels. Well, however you want to view them. Also a kind of cool face print there. I'm not taking their helmets off because, frankly, you're not going to be leaving their helmets off anyway. So what they look like with the helmet on, You know, I'm sure you can find more professional videos than mine if you really want to see them with their helmets off. But none of them have alternate faces, and none of them have hair pieces. There's one ball cap included. So you're really not going to be seeing them with their helmets off. I mean, there's really no point. But there's definitely a diverse cast here. And I just think overall they look good. Here's another dual layered helmet. Dual colored helmet. Then we have two of the light green here. I really do like the way that they seem to have a Star Trek-like, you know, Starfleet-like designation. The color of uniform you wear is kind of the kind of work you do. And people smarter than I have already figured out sort of what each character does, what each color does. Also, I like these backpack things they wear have studs on them, so there's quite a bit you can do with that, really. Then I don't know if that counts as a minifigure, but I do like that character. So 6 figures, all very solid. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start taking this thing apart and rebuilding it. Well, not really taking it apart, just pulling modules off. We're going to show you if that's easy. Is it frustrating? I've really not done it much, so we'll figure that out together. All right, here we go. So just to show you how easy it is to move things around to different positions within the station itself, we could pull this off here, maybe pull this out here, put this on here. And then maybe put this over where that was. Let me see. Actually, you know what? Let's try something even more different. Let's take this, pull this white piece off. That time it came off as one piece, which is more what you want. And we'll put the vegetation onto here. And you're always going to have extra of the Technic pins, so you can just pull them from wherever you need to. Although, to be honest, they're not always, there we go. They're not too bad to grab onto. Let's see. Let's try it like that. See if that works out. And, well, that kind of looks upside down. Let's try it this way. There we go. They've kind of thought of everything to some degree when it comes to this, because they even give you inside, there's like these extra parts, and it actually shows you in the manual. You can basically pull them off. And they didn't need to do this. This was just going above and beyond, sort of, to kind of put them on there to hold them together more sturdily. Let's see. Let's do a little more, though. Let's take the end off of this one. Yeah, those are coming off the way they should now as one piece. Pull these out. You got to kind of pinch these pins. They're pretty easy to pull out if you give them a good pinch. They'd probably actually be easier with child hands, to be honest. Let's just do that. All right, let's just do that for now. So already, with no extra sets, we have a pretty different looking layout here. Not necessarily better or worse, just different. We got the satellite on top here. We got like a corridor going on here. And though technically there's no opening between these two, the way it's done, it does give the visual appearance that they could pass through there. From a display standpoint, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to imagine they can pass through there. From a playing standpoint, you just got to pretend, I guess. So that's a different look. And then over here we got the the garden stuck on the end of this one. And I should have shown you this one. I had it more balanced. It's not going to be very easy now, but not at all, in fact. Let's just take that off. We can change this real quick. I got to get it more balanced so I can show you what I want to show you. But again, you're seeing it's pretty easy. Taking these off, moving them around. Let's see. Maybe we can just leave that there and see if... Nah, let's pull that back off. And so we can put this back here. Or I had an opening over there. I should just use the opening. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Okay. All right. Got it kind of balanced again, so let's see. It's kind of painful. There's just not much to hold on to underneath here. But if you can do it without hurting yourself, it does spin. Honestly, that's just awkward. I can't imagine that was their intention. Anyways, so now, let's just go crazy. Now, I will say, in the manual, there's a few different suggestions after you finish the builds about things you can do to kind of rearrange things. Let's see here. So there it shows they can all come off. You can create a train. You can just totally rearrange things. And it shows you these extra black pieces here and the extra pins. Yeah, pretty much exactly what I was doing. It does show taking these ends off. I didn't think it officially showed that. But they do come off easily. I was just kind of doing it wrong at first, to be honest with you. They do come off quite easily. These right here, just hold there. They come off as one piece. I didn't think they were meant to come off, but they are. I was wrong about that. That was my bad. All right. So, right now we got a bunch of extra ends, but that's okay because we're gonna make a train here. Let's just get started. See, look how easy these come off. We're going to use as much as we can. I'm not sure if everything can be used. Okay, this looks like a good middle piece. Let's just start there. Obviously, we want the engine on the front, so let's just pull some pins out here. Put them in there. I'm showing you this in real time just so you can see if it's, especially for a kid, if it's something they're going to be able to do. And hopefully you can tell it actually is quite easy to do. Lining them up is the hardest part, and that's not hard. Let's see. If there's anything that's still got its pins here. There we go. Pulling these little pins out for my adult size hands is the hardest part. There we go. Put that in there. So again, each one has these. Anytime you see this orange connector in the space sets, you know it's able to connect something. So if I want to connect both ends of this, I'll just pull that end out as well, which is what we're going to do. Because we're just going to keep going here. We're going to go as far as we can. Like I said, I've not tried this. I don't know if you can connect everything. I'm not 100% sure there. But this is clearly the engine. So that's going on first. And if you want to, you can put these on here to add extra stability. I don't really feel like it's necessary. I feel like those pins do the job, to be honest. Let's just go and keep pulling here. Oh. Okay. Pull that out so we can use both ends again. There we go. Keep on going. Why not? Let's see. So here's what we have left. Well, this one's obvious. It can just go next. You know what? For extra stability, I think I will start adding some of these black pieces that it includes and shows you in the instruction manual that that's what they're made for. You put them in here on the build, and they just pull right off. That's a nice extra touch. You know, it basically just gives, well, it visually looks a little better and just gives you some extra stability. There we go, and there's enough for all these. Okay. And so basically got our garden, which if this is a space train they're supposed to live in, we're going to want our garden. And you've also got this. And it does have the connection, so that could totally go on the end. But if I do that, okay, I think we're now at the point where you've got to choose between having our little mobile jet for travel to take with us, or do we want to take food, basically, in the garden? Because I don't see a way to get both of those on there. It's going to be one or the other. These can connect to each other for what it's worth, but there's nothing on the back of here to connect, and obviously you're not going to connect onto that. I think I'm actually going to choose the garden. So let's pull out these, because, you know, again, large boy here, got to have my food. If I'm on a space train, I'm bringing the food with me. Let's just be real. All right. And I think we've actually run out of those little black pieces. Not a big deal. I guess officially, they didn't expect you to connect them all together, but there's no reason you can't, again, except this is going to stay behind or this, one or the other. But we're bringing the food with us. And there we go. I gotta say, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool and very sturdy. It is sturdy. Nothing wrong with that. What a unique and odd thing. And we got our vegetable garden on the back. Let's see. We need some epic music. Too bad I don't have production values. Well, what are we looking at there? Let's see. Tape measure here. Even without being able to put... Oh, I forgot about our satellite. So you basically got all the modules, the 4 modules, plus the ship itself. You can absolutely connect together. But then you got to choose between the garden, your mobile ship, and this, which I totally forgot about. Which seems important. This might make a better caboose. But again, it doesn't have a connection on this end. So this, or the vegetable garden have to be the caboose, basically, if you want to bring them with you. Of course, it looks good just like that. In fact, you could put this on here. And just like that, it looks good. You don't have to bring anything else with you. But let's go and try both of them. Why not? It is quite easy to do. I mean, you're watching it in real time. It only took a couple minutes to take everything off of there and make a train. And now we're going to try putting this on there. So there you're towing your... This is like an RV towing the family car behind on the back. Or the motorcycle. The Harley Davidson's on the back here. I actually think that's a pretty cool look, to be honest with you. But if we take that off, I think maybe what might be the coolest is this satellite / solar panel setup here. It definitely looks the most sci-fi. So let's put that on there. That's a pretty cool look right there. And again, this whole thing is very sturdy. Pretty cool. And of course, all your compartments are still openable. You can still have people in there living and going about their business. So how long is this thing with this attachment? That's probably the longest configuration. Then, of course, you'll have these two things that have got to stay behind on the base over here. And again, it really doesn't matter the order you put them in. It's just whatever you think looks best. It is really, truly modular in that way. Okay? Of course, you know, if you take everything off on the train, there's not much left on the base. But the train can then, in universe, you can imagine the train can then disassemble and perhaps automatically connect itself to where it goes. That's, you know, that's fun. But how long is this? 20 inches, almost exactly. 20 inches. Yeah, this is cool. This is a cool extra feature here. So I'm going to go and give my final review. I got to say, this is the first time I've done this, and this certainly adds to it. You know, I'm not a kid. Realistically, I'm not going to do this that often. I'm going to either pick, do I like the space train more, or do I like the space station more? Which way do I want to display it? If I got a nice long skinny shelf, this is how I'll display it. If I got a more compact but wide area, like just a bulky central area to display it, then I'll attach everything back to here. Anyways, our figures are just kind of in a pile over here. But these, of course, are the end caps. We took off all those. So this doesn't come with any side builds per se. Everything, which I actually appreciate that, everything is attached to the space station unless you remove it. There's no alien terrain, you know, like our rover came with. But the whole set itself is almost a bunch of side builds. you know, every single thing. So here, you know, everything you get here. And the price, $110. You know, piece count wise, that's right on the money, pretty much. 1,097 pieces. That's right at 10 cents a piece, which usually you're doing pretty good if you can get Lego at 10 cents a piece. But as I said before, you can't always go by that. That Rover is like 11 or 12 cents a piece, but I said that's one of the best values I've seen in a while in Lego, because so many of the pieces are big. For this one, I feel like it's got quite a few large pieces as well. I mean, it's got some small pieces. You know, here's a copy of each of the ones, basically. But it honestly does have a lot of medium to larger size pieces. All these tops, you know, the parts you make the frame up with here. It is harder for me to figure value when it comes to these bigger sets. Like, just from looking at it, I thought for 20 bucks, that ship's a no-brainer. For 35 bucks, that's a no-brainer. Once you're talking $110, I'm like, okay, I got to do some mental math here. 6 minifigures, that checks out for like $100 price range set. 6, 7 if you include this guy, that checks out. The piece count checks out, especially when you consider that there's a lot of larger pieces here. It's not consumed by a bunch of tiny pieces. So then we just got to look at what you get. And I have it in this arrangement here, which makes it a little harder maybe, but not really. Let's just start with this. Per module, $10, like that. I can imagine that being a compact but pretty cool little ship for just a $10 set. Then each module, would those be $10? I think that's kind of realistic because they're small, they're compact. Lego doesn't do a lot of sets like that for $10, but I think that's maybe realistic. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I would say that counts, especially with all these bigger printed pieces. 60, 70 for the garden, 80 for this little setup here. That would actually be a really cool little $10 set. A charging station and a ship. And then each one, well, not each one, but like that would have a minifigure. 2, 3, 4, 5. Each of these would have a minifigure, you know, if you spread out the minifigures. So what are we at? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That really only leaves this ring, which gets tricky because there's a lot of parts used up here. I mean, this is still reasonably heavy, and I've taken everything else off. I don't know how to value that because nobody would buy a Lego set that's just this ring, this double-layered ring here, but it is necessary to create the structure. So I don't know what to value that at. I feel like $20 is fairly generous, but at the same time, there's probably, by Lego terms, there's probably at least $20 worth of plastic here. Again, there's a decent bit there. Nobody would buy that set, but just trying to do my little mental exercise here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, plus 20 is 100. And that's it. Like, there's nothing extra with it. Now, that is not rocket science, what I just did. But based on that, I feel good about that. And that I come to $100. And this is 110. So what I'm saying is we're not way off base here. I don't feel like we're way off base on the price. In 2024, some Lego sets are insane. Frankly, like, I don't understand where they come up with the pricing. This is not one of those. This is about right. It's 110 retail. I would like to see it at 100. I mean, within reason. I'd like to see it for 20 bucks, but that ain't realistic. You know, I think 100 would feel right. I think people would feel like that's a pretty good deal. I think that extra $10 comes from the fact that it's 2024 and Lego has just been steadily going up. I mean, everything has been. But I don't feel like, especially with the modular nature of it, I don't feel like you're getting ripped off. I do feel like a kid that likes the space thing is going to have a good time with this. Because though each individual compartment is honestly tiny, and even for a kid, it's going to be hard to do a lot of playing in there, it's still like having a bunch of little miniature houses. And I don't know, I always thought that was cool growing up. Having these little worlds, you know, even though they're tiny, even though there's not a lot in there, it's still There's room for one person in each one at least. And each one has something to do. You eat, you sleep, you collect the tools to go work on the station. You do some gardening. There's something to do in each one. There's a lab. I mean, every kid, I think, is going to think this is cool. A little charging station for a little ship. Yeah, I feel okay about the price. I really do. It could have been $100. If you see this isn't one of those sets where I'm going to say you better get at least a 20% discount or it's a ripoff. There are some that I feel like need a 20+% discount to be reasonable. And if you're patient, you can usually find a discount. It might be 6, 8, 9 months. It might be a year, depending how well the sets do. But this is one I think if you like what you see, both as a set, as an adult, if you like what you see, either in this form or in the other form, you're going to like it. As a kid, if their kid is into space, and especially if you think the modular nature would be up their alley, I think a kid is going to have a lot of fun with this. Endlessly rearranging things. Here's how I feel about it. 110 is okay. 100 would have been better. But what I wish they'd done is left it at 110 and included a simple but sturdy stand. A stand that perhaps held this at an angle like this. That would have been perfect. So it's not quite perfect, but I still like it a lot. I think it's cool. Given the price of 110, I don't feel like I'm going to rave about the price like I did with these sets. Here's a mental exercise. That set's 35. That set's 20, which means exactly, if you pay retail, $55, exactly half for those two combined, exactly half of this. So I think for me, and certainly for a kid, I would start there. I would get both those first. You can get both those for half. I don't know if you would want to, but you could get 2 of each. You could have 2 rovers and 2 of the interstellar ships. So a small fleet, basically, for the price of just this. So I think I would start with one of each of those, but this is really cool. The fact you can make a space train, which I don't know if Lego's ever done that, is really cool. I mean, that's just a cool feature. The fact that it's like its own little modular world is cool. I think the price is okay. I think I said like, for the price, I was so impressed with those. I think I said 9.5. I want to go 8.5. I still think this is excellent. I'm going to go 8.5. It falls just shy of those for me for what you're getting for the money. But I'm still giving an 8.5 out of 10. I still think, so far for me, this line has not struck. It has not had a strike yet. It is hitting them out of the park. You know, maybe those were home runs, but this was a solid 2 or 3 base run right here. Really good stuff. I mean, if you get it for 80 or 90 bucks, and this is also a 9.5 out of 10. For full retail price, 110 bucks, I'm still giving this 8.5 out of 10. Lego continues to knock it out of the park this year with their space line, and I really hope it continues. I really hope these do well. Thanks for checking out the Cardboard Cave. Sorry this has been a long one. Like the video if you don't mind. Comment. You know, I would just really like to hear what you guys are thinking about these sets. Quite a few of you are watching these videos, but I'd like to hear some comments. You know, what do you think about these? Do you want me to review the rest of the city space sets? I plan to. If enough of you have had enough, then I could reconsider. But let me know. Would you like me to review the rest of them? Thanks for checking out the Cardboard Cave. We'll catch you later.